Hello and welcome to Arsenal Above All. I've got Daniel with me tonight to discuss Arsenal's revenge win over Unai Emery's Aston Villa, greatly assisted by Emi Martinez. We've got that to talk about the brilliant performance from Mr. Leonardo Trossard, Leandro Trossard, I should say, and the wonder save from David Raya, plus lots more and breaking news tonight of Eddie Nketiah's proposed move to Forest being blown up. It looks like it was down to the financial package, it seems. But Crystal Palace could be the ones to save the day, maybe. But before we go into all of that, let's. Good evening, Daniel. How you doing, man? How you feeling after that win last night?
Yeah, man. All good, bro. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me back again for another season. Doing really well after the result last night. Yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, last night,
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Thanks for all you do for the channel, man, and the vlogs and the time you take to put those up. I know sometimes you do it and then you forget with how handful things are for you at home and everything. I know how it feels, but no, thanks for that, and thanks for coming on for your debut in the 24-25 season, man. So lots to get into tonight. Obviously, we'll talk about basically the win or the revenge win. This one was, we were kind of looking forward to this, but with a little bit of trepidation, obviously, with what they did to us last year and being the only team to do the double over us. We didn't score against them in 2 games. We had our chances, but it was almost like a reverse of the result in April at the Emirates, where they had some gilt-edged chances. We had a gilt-edged chance with Trossard missing that chance, which Martinez saved in the first half when we played them. And if that had gone in, who knows, different game. This time it was Ollie Watkins who missed that sitter in the first half, and obviously they had another great chance as well with the header with David Raya, which we'll talk about later. And then we scored 2 late goals, exactly what they did to us, and they killed us in April. But what was your thoughts on the overall performance? It wasn't as fluid as before. We did, for example, I think we played better at Villa Park last year, but didn't get the win. But what was your thoughts on just the performance and how it kind of hinged on that save from David Raya?
Yeah, Mike. I think the performance wasn't fluid. It wasn't. It was what I call a functional performance. We did what we had to do. We're not yet seeing the patterns of play and the kind of fluidity, especially in the attacking third, that we saw last season. I don't know if it's going to take a bit of time or what. I love the training tops, by the way. The zip ups, they look wicked.
Yeah. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. Yeah. But it was. We've played well and lost. So if we play average and we win, I'll take it. We're building up match fitness, building up sharpness, and so in some ways it's kind of good to see us not hitting top form, but getting a result against Villa, which was one that I really, really wanted to get because of basically we lost the title in the 2 games against them last season, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of weird sort of performance all round, really. Even from them, I think they looked like they were paying us a lot of respect. The way that they sat off, I think Arteta mentioned it as well. The way that they came out, it was totally different to what he expected. And I think their chance, which fell to Watkins, came from us messing about with it, dallying on the ball a little bit. I think it was Bailey that robbed Gabriel, and then
Gabriel.
obviously Rogers that played it to Watkins. So their chance came from us being a little bit slack. But for me, it was kind of like that incident with Saliba and McGinn. I sort of sparked it off. It was like we know Saliba is a kind of laid back kind of guy, but it seemed like McGinn kind of woke the demon up a bit when he did that, because then he sparked off Ben White as well, and and we kind of sort of grew a little bit from there. But the second half, we had that chance as well with Saka as well, which was a good opportunity, but Martinez got a hand to it and saved it, and he was doing all these histrionics as he usually does. But then start the second half, it was like we kind of fell asleep a little bit, and that kind of similar to what happened last week against Wolves. And then obviously we come up to that save. I mean, every time you watch it, you're just wondering how the guy managed to do that. Obviously, they do the training, but what was your thoughts then? Because again, Arteta in the press conference said, when you see that, you see our defenders, they're all asleep, like basically they're dead. There's no reaction. So I'm sure he's going to mention that in the analysis what they have tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
Cody, you guys remember? Don't let me get the pickpockets out again. Remember what I said? You got hostage takers and stuff like that next time at London Colney this time, because obviously he didn't learn a lesson. But what was your thoughts on that moment, and coupled with what he did against Wolves, a couple of saves he made against Wolves? What do you think this does for David Raya, and just for the team to know that? I think Neil mentioned it on the podcast I did this morning with Paul the Arsenal guys, how it makes them feel that they know that they've got someone like him behind that brick wall of Saliba and Gabriel. What was your thoughts on that moment, and just how pivotal it could be going ahead to the rest of the season?
You just took the word out of my mouth. Pivotal involvement from Raya last week and this week. We did go. I think you're 100% right. I think definitely on the training ground. Well, if they weren't training today, or if they go tomorrow or Tuesday, I'm not sure. But Arteta and the coaches definitely will be picking up on, why we got into that space in the first place. So I think it was Onana. Was it Onana that tried the chip?
Yeah, Onana had the shot, which deflected off Gabriel, and then
that's right.
It looked like David Raya got a hand to it, but he didn't. He didn't touch it at all.
He didn't touch it.
But it's just the fact. I mean, that picture just doesn't do it any justice at all when you think of how quickly Watkins, got to it, and then how quickly he reacted to it, and the power that he had to push it away from the other guy. I don't know if is that Bailey that's coming in to tap it in. If it
looks like Bailey, I think it's Bailey.
Yeah, if it's a bad push out, then he's got an easy tap in. So an absolutely incredible save, man. But yeah, sorry, I cut in there. But
no, it's cool, man. No. Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, wow. Yeah, it's kind of like the stuff of the training drills that you see the keepers do, where they kind of to make a save, they get up quickly and then stop the next one. So it's definitely the training there. One thing I would say is we all know that David Raya is a fairly short goalie, isn't he? He's what, 6'4" or 6'1".
Yeah, compared to the likes of Ramsdale and Nick Pope and things players like that. Yeah, he's just over 6 foot. Yeah,
just over 6 foot. Yeah, I mean, ideally, I prefer a keeper that's at least 6'2", 6'3". But I think what he makes up for in height, he has reflexes, and he just jumps around like a frog. He's got a good leap on him, and he's got good reaction saves. And the thing I like about Raya a lot is when he saves, as you just said, when he makes a save, he pushes the ball. He doesn't parry it into the kind of like the path of an oncoming attacker. He properly gets rid of it. So he's got good power in his wrists. Unlike some of the Arsenal keepers of recent past. We love Ramsdale. He had a great time in between the sticks when he was there, but he was quite prone, wasn't he, to just parrying shots, not getting enough power, pushing them away. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Raya's firmly cemented his place there as our number one. There's full confidence from the whole team in him, and he definitely deserves his best keeper in the Premier League last season, and he's picked up where he's
yeah.
left off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's definitely cemented his place, as you said, as number one. But what would you say about Leandro Trossard, and also what kind of links to what's happened to Martinelli? He just doesn't look like the same guy. The guy that plays off the cuff football. He looks like he's thinking about everything all the time. He's overthinking it, I should say. There's a couple of runs he made in the first half where he should have really cooked the fullback, and he's cutting back on himself, and he's playing passes which 50-50 passes, got no chance of getting. Again, there was another incident in the second half where he made a good run, a good break, and again he just cut back on himself. Is that down to the style of play? What we're doing now, we're not so much a transitional side, we're more possession-based side and trying to open teams up that way. And is that stifled his game? Or do you think there's more other things like we know he's really, really good mates with Fabio Vieira. He's gone, he's gone on loan to Porto now. Could it be something like that? And also, then what do you think that means for someone like Trossard now, who came in and did what he did? Why do you think he's fallen off a little bit, Dan, in terms of that? Because obviously we know the numbers he produced 2 seasons ago, and he had a kind of off season last season. But what's your thoughts on why Martinelli is just struggling so bad this season? Well, so far, I should say.
I think there's a couple of reasons. The first one is I think the pressure from Trossard. The pressure from Trossard and the stats that Trossard is generating is putting a huge amount of force on Martinelli. Trossard's stats, I think 19 goal involvements last season in much less minutes, something like almost 600 minutes less. Whereas Martinelli had 13 goal involvements in nearly 3,000 minutes, and Trossard had around 2,300 minutes, 2,300, somewhere there. So I just think the pressure that Martinelli is having, knowing that pretty much when Trossard plays, particularly as a sub, he's making a difference. It's, at the end of the last season, he was averaging a goal every other game towards the end of the season. In our title running, unfortunately, it wasn't enough to carry us over the line. But I think that's one. I think that's one thing. Since Trossard came in January last year, and Martinelli's been under huge pressure. He hasn't really had that before. And secondly, I think the niggly injuries, and I think maybe sometimes our reliance on his pace on the break has caused maybe some of the injuries or the pressure. I don't know, but whatever it is, he's having a stinker at the moment, and I'm an advocate really for Trossard really being the starting man on that left hand side and let Martinelli try and work his way back in. So I completely understand the way Trossard reacted yesterday when he got the goal. At first, I was wondering, what's going on there? Why is he not? But I read the little thing afterwards when he said, any player that's not playing and you think you should be playing it, it's not ideal. And he's right. He's banging. He's kicked down Arteta's door. He should be getting more starts than he is, to be honest. Not just because he's playing at a false 9 or centre forward, but to take Martinelli's position, because he's not delivering and he doesn't look good at the moment. He looks unconfident. Like when he's running, his head's down. He's not looking up. It's like he's got the pace and the trickery, but when it comes to the defining moment, he's not making the right decisions. It's quite frustrating. When I'm at the Emirates at the home games, he's a really frustrating player to watch at the moment. We fully believe in him and that, but he's in a period where he really needs to work through it somehow.
Yeah, I just think it's the way that we play now. A lot of people say it's a left-hand side and it's not as fluid or not as solid as it used to be with Xhaka and Zinchenko. Obviously Zinchenko, who was fresh and was really, he sort of hyped, and we didn't really see the defensive frailties that like we see now. Because maybe Xhaka was the one that kind of helped him out in that instance, and he hasn't really got anybody there. But then he has got someone like Declan Rice on that left-hand side, kind of helping that, and it just doesn't seem to work whatsoever. I just think it's a style of football that we play now. I think because he's working in such limited space, then he's probably overthinking things. But then yesterday he had a lot of opportunities where he had space. To run, and he was still messing it up. And then there were times, and obviously, when he didn't have space, and he was literally running the ball out of play on a couple of occasions.
Out of play,
so it's kind of weird that the options are there for him to excel in the ways that he likes to, but he's not doing it. And if that's the case, then you're right. I think it is confidence. Maybe the information that he's getting from Arteta and the coaching just isn't connecting or computing at the moment, and maybe he needs to come out the side, because that's the thing with Trossard, because sometimes he comes in and he plays really well when he starts, and then he has a stinker, and then everyone's kind of going back to the Trossard's better off the bench sort of thing. He's a really good impact player. And then he comes on, he does it again. It's like a cycle. A loop with those two. It always seems to be the way. And we back him still. We just need to see what happens if we get Mikel Merino in, and he does play on that left-hand side, and maybe Rice goes back to the six. Who knows? We'll just have to see how that relationship develops. I was just happy with Partey getting his goal. He had a couple of chances last week against Wolves, and he was off target. But it's interesting in him popping up there again. I think that's something we keep an eye on going forward in the season. I think he's going to definitely pop up with a couple more goals, and I think Odegaard is as well. He obviously missed a really bad one at the end, but no. Overall, Dan, just happy that we got that win. It's a big win, even though it's 2 games in. We've got another 2 big away games to come, but at least we kind of can forget about that one and just concentrate in getting over these next 2 away ones, and then have a nice run of games after that, hopefully. But was there anyone else that stood out for you? Obviously, we mentioned Saliba. It was good to see Timber start and look really kind of solid until the last 20 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was good, man. That was good to see him starting there at left back. Actually, there's been a lot of debate around where Timber's going to play. Is he there to play right back? Because he's a right back normally, isn't he? And he plays right back for the national team as well. Or is he there as a kind of utility player who can play both sides, or he can play defensive mid as well? So it'd be interesting to see where his where the coaches focus his positioning on, because for me the way I see him play, he just doesn't look like a guy who's going to be a bit part player. He's going to be knocking on the door at some point, whether it's left back or right back, I don't know. Ben White is there or at right back on merit right now. You can't really drop Ben White after what he's done the last couple of years. But no one else really impressed me as such.
It was a bitty performance, wasn't it? From pretty much everyone. Obviously, the defense stood up. Obviously, David Raya did amazing with what he had to do as well. But it was kind of a bitty performance. It was a strange performance, but we got the job done. And like this time, like in April, when Villa did exactly the same thing, we were told it's a masterclass. This is Unai Emery. This is what he does, and he's schooled Arteta again. And now the shoe's on the other foot. Everyone's saying, "Oh, it's lucky Arsenal," and he doesn't deserve to win. And the stat, Ollie Watkins ain't going to sleep well. He should have. But he didn't. And the same way Trossard didn't bury his chance against Martinez, and put us 1-0 up, and that could have changed the whole course of the title. So you're always going to get those narratives still. But moving on to somebody who wasn't there on Saturday, Gabriel Jesus, we were Arteta, was saying about how impressed he was with him in pre-season. He looks hungry, all that stuff. And then he picks up a groin injury, and apparently they're gonna They've had the MRI, and some people are saying it's not as bad as thought in terms of him being out. But what do we do, Daniel? What do we do with him, and what do we do in the market? Because obviously, with other things that have happened tonight, we talk about obviously the three Gabriels. There's two of them who are kind of struggling at the moment. But what do we do with Jesus, and can we go into this to Friday night deadline and not have anyone else added to the attacking ranks?
The short answer is no.
Yeah.
The short answer is no. The short answer is no. No. There's no way that we can rely on Gabriel Jesus being able to give a suitable contribution for the season. He's shown in the last couple of years he's very injury prone. He's very, he's brittle, very brittle. And I think even if Eddie stays, we need to get another striker or attacker. If Eddie doesn't get a move, and that's cool. If he stayed to be part of the squad, cool. But I still think that we need to add another attacker. If we don't, I will go out on my sword and say we will not win the title. We won't be even a chance. Last season we ran City really close. It's only just a fine margin. This time, I don't think we'll get away with it. This time at all. So, if we don't sign someone to kind of share that burden with Havertz, the goal burden with Havertz and Saka, and Trossard thankfully stepped up to chip in as well. But I think we need to. We can't. What then happens if Havertz gets a knock? Who are you going to play as a number 9? You can't really you can't necessarily play Trossard. When you're playing teams like Newcastle and Brighton who have massive centre backs.
Yeah,
I mean, short little guys like Eddie and Trossard are just going to get bullied. So we've got to. I'm hoping that we do, because unfortunately I do like Jesus as a player, but I don't like his lack of availability. It's not his fault. It's his body's letting him down, and unfortunately, I just think we need to learn from the past, and we need to, we need to be a bit more ruthless. To be honest, we got to think about the football club and not just about the individual player.
I'm it is kind of a worry now, because the two players that you kind of thought would have been, I mean, this is obviously, I agree with you. I think Jesus, we have to get I ideally would get a striker, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen now. So I would go for someone who can play across the lines. Someone like Kudus at West Ham for me would be probably the pick, because one is Premier League proven. We know that he can play across the front. He can play up front if needs be. He's strong. He can. I'll take a lot of players that win their duels and what have you. So he would definitely be someone that I would try and target. West Ham spent a lot of money. They may need to get some of it back. This summer, but we'll see. But one of the things that's kind of worried me is two of the players that he was looking at. Who you would say would be the replacement for Odegaard if he got injured, for example, are no longer at the club. So the only person that you can kind of see realistically is a 17-year-old kid, Wanyeri. So, that's a worry now, because I know Odegaard's an absolute machine. He runs, he does his presses so much, and he missed a handful of games last year. But, with the fixture list we've got to come, that's going to be a worry. What do we do when if he's out the side? Because we saw against Villa, he had to really drop it a bit deep a few times just to get his self on the ball to influence the game a little bit. And he's really, we know that he and Saka are just the real creative sparks in the team. And I'm just worried that if Odegaard's injured, then we are really screwed, because I don't really get where the squad building has gone this year, when we all kind of said, again, we need someone to cover, someone decent to cover Saka and a striker, and he's gone and bought a defender again, and it looks like he's getting a midfielder, a left eight midfielder. that's the worry for me. I think we probably might even have to get 2 players in, but I don't think that's not including Mourinho. I think we need to get 2 players in after him, but we've left it too late. We've wasted so much time over this Eddie deal, and if Eddie needs to leave before we can do something, I mean, it's just crazy. I think it reflects really, really badly on our planning and Edu and Garlic and what they've done and how they've approached it. I just don't think it's good enough. I mean, I know other clubs haven't bought anyone yet. Liverpool haven't bought anybody yet, but are you worried about that as well in terms of just the way we just seem to have gone left field in terms of what we needed to be focusing on in terms of recruitment, rather than getting the right winger, right side attacker, and the striker? We've gone to the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Letting Smith Rowe and Vieira go, that's two squad members who you would be hoping were going to make excellent contributions this season, having A, recovered from a terrible injury, and B, got used to the rigors of the Premier League. But both of them have gone. So you're 100% right. If Odegaard gets injured, who comes in that number 10? I don't even know if Nwaneri is a number 10. I don't know if he necessarily is. Who plays there? Probably Trossard. Is the only one that I can really see who can do it. But it's not a good position to be in. As you said, the planning doesn't seem to be adequate. I don't know if it's a one in, one out process. There's some ITKs that are saying, "Oh, Arsenal don't have no problems with FFP or PSR or whatever." It's just their transfer dealings are always just hectic. It's just how they operate.
I think again, Ornstein came out tonight and said the reason we haven't really gone for Nico Williams, for example, is because of the finance. We can't do it. So
really?
Yeah. So so again, the ITKs are saying, "Oh, it's all right." There's been a lot of people, a lot of content creators being saying, "Oh, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. It's all planned and everything." And I don't know, what that plan looks like. But when you compare it to what we did last year, when we got those 3 names in, Havertz, Rice, and Timber, reasonably early into the window, and compare that to what we've done this season. I know we had the Euros and everything, but and the Copper, but I mean, I just think it's been bad planning, and I think there needs to be some sort of review in terms of what actually is going on. And you've got to hope that they're already working on what to do. Maybe not so much in January, but what to do in the summer next year. A little bit like what they did with Rice, because I think it was a long plan with that. They got in touch with his people and him and spoke to him about the project. Maybe they might have to do something like that with someone like Isaac, because I think he would be, if you're talking about a striker that fits the profile and what we want, it would be him. And you would probably have to put a lot of groundwork in to try and get him, and then try and put all your money in, say, look, this is the last piece of the jigsaw. But I've got no faith that's going to happen, to be honest. Just how this is transpired, I don't know how we've gone from really good work last summer to where we are this summer, and we're going with 5 days left into the window, and the squad is lighter than it was, considering the calendar that we've got this season, let alone the next month of games that we've got to play. But the Champions League, it's a concern. You know what I mean? Even though we've kind of started okay, it is a concern how we're going to navigate all of that. We're a really small squad now, really. I don't know what to kind of say about that, to be honest, Dan. And obviously that goes on to Eddie as well. I mean, what do we do with him now? I mean, you said we should get another forward even if he stays, but you can see that he probably is going to end up if he ends up staying, he's probably end up playing, featuring in games again. And I don't know where his head's at the moment, but it's a mess, isn't it? This is again not just the incomings, the outgoings as well. I don't know what's going on with Edu and Richard Garlick this window, but what's your thoughts on that, on the collapse of Eddie's transfer? Again, another transfer that's collapsed.
Is this the third club? Is this Marseille, Bournemouth, and now Forest? Is that the third one?
Yeah, I'm not even sure if Bournemouth are really in for him. I think they got that Evan Nielsen who made his debut today, but we definitely know that there's two clubs that literally Arsenal kind of agrees the fee, and whether it was down to personal terms or whether it was the other way around, and it seems the same with Forest as well. And now people are saying maybe Palace might be interested, but yeah, what's your thoughts? He's surely got no future with us, has he?
Yeah, I would say so. I love an academy graduate, but fair to say, Eddie needs to look out for himself. He needs to secure a move away, if it's on loan or permanent, whatever. But I think he needs to go and be a regular starter somewhere at a decent club. He can get into a decent club. He can lead the line for a Palace or whoever in the he can get a good Premier League club easily. I just think he needs to do that now. He's at the age where he probably needs to make that step. And yeah, he's at an age I would say where he can't accept really just being on the bench. If he wants to make a really good career for himself, he's 24 now, and he going 25, or is he
25.
25? He's 25. Yeah, so it looks like the club want a certain amount of money for him, and they're trying to obviously be a bit more hardline with their transfer negotiations, because we've been pretty terrible at negotiating transfers out forever. But at this rate, if we're holding on to try and get an extra 3, 4, 5 million, rather than let the guy go, get the money in and get someone else in, at this point it just looks a bit stupid, really. It just makes us look like we just don't know how to handle our transfer business, like we're just fighting around. And it looks like we're going to end up having to hold on to Reece as well as Eddie for this season at the moment, unless something spectacular happens in the next 5 days.
Yeah, it's that's the worry for me. The fact that the squad is looking really, really small now. I know he'll probably, even someone like Kivy, or there's rumours that he may go. Atalanta are interested in him, and then we're maybe linked with Lookman, and they're looking at maybe some sort of deal plus cash, whatever. And he can play across the front three, so maybe that's an option. But you're getting another body out. You're not adding to the squad. You're just taking one out and another in again. So definitely seems to be a plan that's how they're going to operate this season, rather than adding to it. Because I think that we had 24 or 23 now with Vieira gone, in the squad. When you compare that to the likes of City and United and Tottenham, obviously Chelsea are almost doubled that, which is crazy. But it just doesn't bode well for the demands that's going to be put upon us this season, especially what we need to do. We need to literally be perfect at the blocks up until the international break, at least, not lose, and then see where we are. But by then, obviously, the window's closed and everything. And by then, we would obviously know who we've got in the Champions League, because that draw is taking place on the same day as the transfer deadline on Friday. And yeah, if you've got like a small squad, and then you know that you're away to Madrid or you're away to Juventus or whatever next season in must-win games, because that's the way the format of the Champions League is. Yeah, it doesn't bode well. It puts a lot of pressure on that squad, really. And I'm just a bit disappointed. I think not just me, a lot of people disappointed in just how we've not built the squad up, increased the quality as we kind of hoped we would. We have, you can say, with Calafiori and Mourinho when he comes in on that side, but just in those positions that we kind of want to really focus the right side. Saka kind of replacement, and the striker as well, like the gunman, which we kind of been waiting for.
Yeah, we'll be waiting. He's never. Arteta and Edu have never signed a number 9. That's the case, isn't it? We've never signed
only Jesus, who they wanted to turn into a number 9, but the guys, obviously come out and said he's not really keen on scoring. He just wants to play football. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens if Mikel Marino, once that gets confirmed, and how he fits in, and if we can do some business at the end of the window and leave it short notice. We've got Brighton on Saturday. They're obviously 100%. They've won both their games. Obviously, turned Man United over on Saturday lunchtime kickoff. What's your thoughts about them, Dan? Because obviously they're a pretty handy side with a manager who wasn't even born when the Premier League was formed, which was insane.
No, I think we'll win. Hey?
Yeah, we'll do the business.
Yeah, I think we'll win. Mainly because of the way Brighton play. They play quite, nice football. And so, I believe we tend to struggle against teams that just come out and place a low block in so that we can't get through. Brighton play quite open football on, they play. So I believe it'll be a good game. But I believe we'll get the win. I know they've scored quite a lot of goals as well. They've scored quite a few goals.
Yeah. They look dangerous. They've got obviously Matoma, who we both rate. And Adingra, who's another good player, and Pedro, who's a good player as well. I wouldn't mind any of them coming in the window. To be honest,
exactly.
Option, and we've done business with them before, as we know. But yeah, should be a good game. Like you said, you there? You going on Saturday?
I don't think I can actually go that next week, actually, because I might be on a family event. So we'll see. Okay. Yeah, but I'm expecting 3. I know. Well, I'm definitely expecting 3 points, though, Mike. I can't see any other way. It's at the point now where the level of expectancy, the level of and the competition where we are now, we need to be expecting certain results now. We need to be in this final phase. These phases that Arteta talks about, we must be kind of like in this final phase or whatever now. This we can't be expecting to anything but win our home games now.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. We'll probably end up seeing Danny Welbeck score or something like that, and then hopefully we can just turn it around and get the result. Trossard scoring against his old team, and maybe Welbeck scoring against his old team, maybe something like that.
I'd like to see who he plays in that game, because the Brighton backline are massive, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it will pretty much be the only person that will probably come in will be Trossard. Probably he'll come in.
Yeah,
and because he scored against them last year, didn't he? At their place.
He did.
So hopefully, he's got that past him, because I think when he played against them the season before, he didn't have a great game. So I think that goal he scored against them will take the sort of the monkey off his back, and hopefully, he'll carry on with his point to prove, with his ice cold celebration. So hopefully he'll have a couple more on Saturday lunchtime, so we can start our weekend nicely and relax, and then see a couple of big games at the weekend. So hopefully, we can be sitting pretty before we head across to North London to see for their cup final, which has come early.
It's come early for them this year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really early. But no, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan, for your takes, man. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back next week at the weekend to hopefully cover another solid win, and look ahead to the big North London derby the following weekend. Thanks for all the support. Share and subscribe if you can, and hopefully we'll have some good news to come, on the transfer front, If Eddie does go, we wish him obviously the best wherever he does end up. If not, then obviously he stays around. Then we have to obviously have a conversation about that and see where the land lies. But let's hope we get a couple more bodies through the door to just add to the quality that we've got to give us the best chance of getting this damn trophy off Man City, really, and the other competitions as well. It's not all about the league. We've got to win something this year. But no, thanks, Dan.
Cool, bro.
Thanks for your time. Love to the family. Love to everyone. Thanks for the support. Come on, you Gunners.